Aloha, and thank you for joining us on this weekend's live stream. I want to start as we do with all our seminars. Everyone take a nice big breath in and just drop into the space in between the breath. And just hold here. You know, I go over this a lot, and yet to me, the reason I go over it a lot is that the more we practice this, the more it becomes part of our natural response to being here in the body on this planet. For me, when I take the breath in, it's really more like fine-tuning a dial. And you fine-tune, you go this way, the breath is going this way, back and forth. And then you fine-tune it right to that place, and then you just hold. So again, take the breath in and just stop right at the top. And as I hold this space, the breath keeps going on its own, yet I'm holding this space. And this is so key. This is such a key part to the still point process. It's when we get to that place of still point, of neutrality, it's cultivating how to steward that, it's kind of like using clay. You know, you're holding clay, and you hold too much and you ruin it. So you just hold it in that place. So right here, I'm holding this in this place right here. And as I'm holding it, literally for me, it feels like I'm being filled in, like this. I've tuned to a station. I've tuned to the neutral state of neutrality. And as I've tuned here, this space is filling in. It's loading, it's filling. Like a balloon, it's filling in, opening up this space of still point. The more you practice this, for me, this has happened. I just shifted. I dropped into still point. I can tell when this opened. It was opening. It was opening, and then whoosh, just dropped right in. That right there is the most important part of the still point process right there. Having the ability in any moment to drop in, to hold, to tune to neutrality, to hold that neutrality so that you feel that this space filling in, this still point space around the body, this space, to me, this is the envelope of energy that literally guides and governs the human body. And so if the body is stressed and tense and what have you, this energy gets all disheveled and unorganized and incoherent. When we are in the state of neutrality, this space opens. And at a certain point, whoosh, it drops into what we call the quantum field. For me now, I'm literally just resting here in this state of the quantum field. This envelope, nice, strong, surrounds the body. So everyone take a quick look right in the quantum field. Before we shift into lasers, take a quick moment and look around the outside periphery. You know, every day people look at their computers, the things that are important, their living rooms, their gardens, their desk. Well, every day get in the process of looking at this quantum field. Take a quick scan of the periphery. I often show in our seminars, envision a laser beam, a saber that goes around the outside, around the outside of the quantum field, and cut any cords, any blockages, any holes in this quantum field. Just do some house cleaning on this. This is our house for living here on this planet right now. A lot of people, yogis say, people have chakra cords that go between their friends, their loved ones, blockages, holes, impressions. So I'm just going around, clear any cords, any connections, just dissolve them. Great. Now take a quick scan. You know, in our larger still point retreats, we spend 2, 3, 4 days really cultivating and looking and practicing at these kinds of tools. You know, for most people, this stuff would sound like nuts. This is nuts. Yet those same people do the same thing in their homes, their living rooms, their computers. They clean it up. They make it look good. They put their friends and they figure out everything and how it's structured. Or in their gardens, they clean up their gardens, make sure it's contained. If it's not contained, the neighbor's weeds come in, the raccoons come in, different things come in. So you have to keep a periphery and contain this space. Now, one more very easy process. With your perception, take a look around right here. Take a quick scan around. See what's going on. What's happening right now with the body? Is there anything happening right here? Are there any injuries? Is there any tension? Is there any stress? I find something right away. Well, go right up to that area. Go right up to that thing and simply say, aloha, welcome. Just welcome it. Don't energize it. Don't heal it. Don't send light. Don't send energy. Just very simply say aloha, welcome, as if it's a long-lost friend holding something very dear for you. And as soon as I do that, as soon as I welcome it, to me, that thing was going like this. It was a contained thing. I covered this in last week's conference call. If you haven't heard, go and listen. We talk about the 3 states: contraction, unwinding, neutrality. Well, what did we just do here? I went up to that thing, I welcomed it. That thing was contraction. I went up, I welcomed it. Well, what did it do? It started to unwind, unravel. And I'm just holding it now. I'm using that same principle I touched on as we started here today, and I'm holding this thing. I'm just saying, oh, it's like I'm holding it with care. I talk about this in our larger seminars. We have to learn to use our perception. Most people either have something cooking or they go away from it and they avoid it. It's cooking or they go away from it. What we want to do is say, well, wait a minute, those 2 responses aren't effective at all. That's fight or flight. That's just fight or flight. We don't want to do that. If we have a situation, we want to go up to it and we want to be present with it. We're really talking about being present with things and guiding them. Understanding that the things don't guide us. We guide the things. This is the thing that the human condition has been basically brainwashed. We are here to guide and steward things. We're not here to be stewarded and guided by things, physical, emotional, psychic things, challenges, banking systems, economics, governments. We're not here to be controlled and guided. We are here to steward and guide. That is the human condition in nature. So again, that thing is going like this. Doesn't matter what thing. Could be an injury, could be an emotion. Is going like this. And then right there, I could tell something shifted because my system went into what's called stillpoint response. I took a little sigh, and that thing unwound, and whoosh, right here into stillpoint. And now I'm resting. I'm back here in this state of the quantum field. Again, anyone who was on the conference call, contraction, unwinding, positive, negative, whoosh, neutrality. We had a contraction, we went up to it, unwinding, whoosh, neutrality. We welcomed something through its different states of experience. Great, now take one more look around. Right here, look around once more, see this now go around. Is there anything else going on here? Is there a health challenge? Is there an emotional situation? Is there some situation with a loved one or a friend or someone transitioning? And pull it up, right into the screen here of the quantum field. Pull up whatever it is. A work situation, a living situation, an old pattern or program from the old season around finances, around how you deal with emotions, whatever. Pull it up right here and simply, pull it up here. Be comfortable pulling something up. Most people aren't comfortable pulling their stuff up, their things up. And so they keep them hidden. And what they don't realize is when they keep them hidden, the universe, they're not hiding from the universe. The universe keeps bringing things to reflect whatever's going on in here. So, pull them up here. Let's pull them up. Let's let them air. Great. As soon as I pull up something. As soon as I pull it up, I simply, it didn't happen naturally. I pulled it up and my system started to unwind. I didn't even welcome it. See, welcoming it, I'm saying welcome it. Yet for me, I don't really say, hi, aloha, welcome. I pull it up and I invite it to do. Once you get comfortable with this, you naturally pull it up and you say, oh, okay, that's there, that's great, let's dissolve it. That's the natural progression, and it's dissolving. That thing I pulled up around a challenge that I've been dealing with and pull it up, and great. And it's just naturally, we all have challenges. It's not like I sit around here not having any challenges. I just welcome them when they come up. And it dissolves. It's still, now it pulled it up. It was the contraction. An emotion, a thought can be contraction. A contraction, it's unwinding now. And the unwinding to me is a key principle. Is a key principle. Our society is phobic about unwinding. Darkness, death. It's so phobic about anything that starts to unwind. So this thing's unwinding. And right there, I took a little sigh, little breath in, sigh. Whoosh. This thing that I started was here, contraction, unwinding, just dissolved into neutrality. And now I'm back here in the quantum field. This is introspection. You know, every tradition, the Buddhists, every tradition understands how important introspection is. Every day we have to go in here and see what's working, what's not working, and we need to change and grow and dissolve. Practical application of introspection. So I just collapsed two things. You know, my view is, most people go through life collecting one or two things every day. My view is every day I look for at least one moment to collapse, dissolve one or two things. What I mean by things is karma, contraction, physical, emotional, cell memory, thinking, program, dissolve it. If I do every day, and now I'm resting here, and as soon as I rest here, to me, I feel the sacred muscle at the root, at the base of the spine, pulsing. The reason I do this every day, I do the introspection, this work of finding something, dissolving it. If I don't do it, then in my life I have to do thinking and emotions and have that whole trip going on. And to me, every day I want to dissolve that trip and get back here. And when I'm back here, guess what? I'm resting here in still point. The sacred muscle's going like this. Nice pulse at the base of the sacrum. Goes in and out. See if you notice the entire sacral area. In and out. If you can't notice, if you're not sure you notice, it's all right. I've been doing this for years. Since I was a kid, I've been doing Tai Chi and doing different things to cultivate this. This has been a lifelong journey for me. So if you don't feel anything first go around, that's okay. It's not a big deal. Squeeze the muscle at the base root a little bit. Just squeeze it in a little bit. And then relax it out. Same muscles you go to use the restroom. Everyone can do that. How many of you all go to the restroom? Just squeeze it in. And then drop it out. Relax it out. And now as you squeeze in, this go around, stop right in between, in the middle. And simply hold it. Same principle. What did we do? We got the base sacred muscle. Most people don't realize it even moves, so that it's in contraction. Well, what did we do? We welcomed it. We unwound it. It started to unwind. Positive, negative, unwinding. Now, drop it into neutrality. Same principle. Anyone who didn't listen to last week's conference call, go back and listen to it, because I qualified contraction, unwinding, neutrality. 3 states of energy in the universe. And this isn't theoretical. I can't prove this to you. I don't know if it's real or not. All I know is in my life, it's how it seems real. And it's not more important than it being real is that it's something I can use to navigate situations, and it works for me. You see if it works for you. So squeeze and then drop it into that space. When I drop it in this space of neutrality, it starts streaming. Energy starts going through it. The reason I do this constantly is because if I have an issue or an injury and I welcome it, unwind it, dissolve it, then now I feel energy in those areas. Energy now is coming up the spine. This is what we call in our seminars, the first key step in still point is being able to drop into still point and hold. Then the quantum field opens up. In my life, every day I do things to make sure this quantum field. This is how I want to experience this new season. The body is not the experience of the new season. That was the experience of the old season. To me, this subtle body is the experience of the new season. For me, this is how I want to navigate the new season. as a nonlinear conscious being of the universe and beyond. So energy now coming up the spine and activation. We call this activation, energy coming up the spine. By the way, this is what we cover extensively at our retreat. So if you want to really get proficient in this, come to a 3 or 4 day retreat. That's where you can really come away and say, these are tools I can use in every single day of my experience here. Well, this energy comes up, activates up here, what we call ambrosia process, activates for me when this energy comes up. The reason I do this every day and love to activate this energy along the spine is when I do, it opens up this nectar, this amrita, the glands inducing the saliva opening. It puts me into a state of connection, unity, bliss, and an indescribable essence. So every day I have the option. I can hold on to things, or I can carve out space and clear a couple things, whether I do it with perception or the laser, the Wi-Fi, the Stillpoint smoothie, until I start to get here. When I get here, this is why I do this. Those are 3 or 4 easy steps. Stillpoint, quantum field, activation, ambrosia. Easy, 4 things right there. To me, that's the key. And now I'm just dropping here, and we're going to cover more advanced. Things at the Stillpoint retreat in Vermont. In Vegas, we covered a whole section, almost an entire day, on Stillpoint ambrosia, how to activate it, how to work with what in India they call Kacharya Mudra, where you open up in the back, in the palate, and you induce the sacred compounds to start to flow within the cranium. Like a flower. This is a finely tuned flower. Well, this go around, we're going to build on that, and we're going to cover some advanced scalar techniques, scalar activation to activate some of the secret glands in the cranium, and scalar circuitry. Some really unique stuff we're going to cover in Vermont over the summer solstice. So anyone you want to sign up for that and come and join us. It's going to be it's going to be beautiful and a lot. So join us. So now I'm just resting here for a moment. It's going to be a special retreat. So we welcome anyone who wants to come. Every day I clear some things, get this going, and I rest. Now I've done this so much that this process has taken us a little while. When I do it, I go through this really fast. It doesn't take me long to get here and to start. Once this opens, the next key for me is opening up the lotus. The lotus. And we're not going to touch too much on that. Opening up this lotus. All yogis, traditions refer to the lotus as a state of opening into universal consciousness and all consciousness and beyond. All right, that is the Stillpoint process, and thank you all for tuning in and being here. All right, now I want to shift gears to the laser. I want to shift gears into lasers, and today I want to focus on one key attribute of the scalar laser. One key attribute. For folks that are new, this is the scalar laser. It's a cold laser, it's a soft laser, it's a low-level laser. Laser therapy, those are the common names. And what the laser does is it sends energy. Lasers send light, photons, coherent laser light. And every laser company, I want to make a reference point here. Every laser company on planet Earth does one thing primarily. Everyone, and they'll all tell you this. And every laser company does one thing. It donates energy. It stimulates cells using light, laser light. That is the key principle that every laser on the planet, in the market does. Lasers stimulate, donate energy into cells. Studies show that the benefit of that is it stimulates the cell. It stimulates the part of the cell called the mitochondria to increase ATP, which is energy, and tells the cell to replicate and regenerate. So from my perspective, our laser does that well. And I want to say, you know, from my perspective, our laser does that also. And it does it very well because, unlike many of the other lasers, we use 3 wavelengths. Our understanding of how to target cells to stimulate them is based on the wavelength of the color spectrum of the laser. And this is unique. Most laser companies don't even discuss this. They don't even recognize it. From my perspective, more and more are, though. We've been saying this for a year, and now you're starting to hear it with other companies. Well, red lasers are for the surface cells. Infrared stimulate in the deeper bone, tendon, cartilage, and disc. And the violet works on the subtle meridians, chakras, energy, lymph, nonlinear systems, DNA, enzymes, genetic enzymes, all sorts of exciting nonlinear facets of the cell. So from my perspective, this laser does something completely different than the other lasers that are on the market. So our laser has another technology, and this is key because, you know, I covered the contraction, unwinding, and neutrality. And it is so important for folks in our network to understand what makes the scalar laser completely different than every other laser. What is our unique thing that we offer to share to the community and to this planet? And that one thing, from my perspective, is this laser has a revolutionary technology that unwinds things. Has a revolutionary technology that is effective at unwinding tissue. And this is so key because no other laser has this. I mean, not only does no other laser have this, no other device in the alternative wellness or medical industry that I've come across has this unique feature of unwinding things. Truly unwinding things. And so I just want to qualify that because, you know, that is what I sell. Well, why is that important? It's important because there are many cranial sacral therapists, there are many chiropractors, there are many myofascial experts, there are many folks into massage therapy, deep tissue therapy, Rolfing, veterinarians, acupuncturists, yoga folks. There are tons of people who understand, and lay people. I mean, when you qualify to someone the importance, when you understand the reference of contraction, unwinding, and neutrality, positive, negative neutrality, and you have a tool that basically invites things to unwind, things that are like this to unwind, well, who doesn't have a benefit for having a technology that can take things that are here and unwind them? So having a technology and tool that can unwind things, from my perspective, is hugely important and beneficial to our people and planet. And there are tons of practitioners out there who are using the scalar laser as a technology and tool to help to unravel and unwind things that are going on. Now, the key for anyone who has a laser, when you share with someone, that I always do, I always say, go ahead and hold this for a moment. And I simply put it on unwind. I tell you, 95% of the people that I hand this to you and say, just hold it for a moment on unwind or on quantum or on unity or wave. When they hold it, I check in a moment later and say, how does that feel? Do you feel your body, do you feel your cells, your hand, your body unwinding a little bit? And they either do one of two things. They either say, yeah, I feel that, or they don't say anything. And when they don't say anything, I know, I can tell right away, yeah, they feel it. They don't want to confirm it yet, but they feel it. I look at them, they're unwinding. They're unwinding. This is based in physics. This is based in physics of unwinding. Now let me touch for a moment on how we developed a technology to unwind things. Because this is key. It's not like we just randomly made something and it just happens to unwind things. There was a stewarding of this technology to do that. And the stewarding of it, you know, began way back when you know, I studied cranial sacral therapy. And to me, when I studied cranial work, I was profoundly inspired and affected by the ability to find a rhythm, unwind the rhythm, and dissolve something into still point. So unwinding to me is something that is a natural thing to happen in experiencing being the body and in the universe. And so when I went to build a laser, my goal in building the laser was to build a technology that was a laser and that also had the effect of unwinding tissues and cells and emotions and anything. And so to do that, let me list out a couple of the key things that help our laser to do that. We do a number of things with our cold laser system to have the effect of unwinding tissue. The first of which is the wavelengths we pick. We pick very specific wavelengths that are designed to be relaxing and soothing. Most laser companies pick more stimulating, upper 800, 900 nanometer wavelengths, red wavelengths. A lot of companies go around and give out certain wavelengths in the red as the primary one. I don't use those because they're way more stimulating. I also don't use upper 800, 900 because they're way more stimulating. How did I tell that? Well, very simple. When I went to build the laser, by the way, let's everyone go ahead and put the laser in our network on unwind on the adrenals. Let's do a little protocol while we do this. I'm starting on the adrenals. I'm not sure we should do this because I'm not going to. We just got into California and flew all night to get here. So we are here in California and adjusting to being on the mainland. So in any event, I'm on the adrenals, and as soon as I put on adrenal, my body's going like this. I'm unwinding. I'm going from this to this. So there are a few key things. When I tried lasers, when I began to develop a laser, I tried everything. I tried every wavelength. I built lasers with this wavelength, with this wavelength, and I'd try each one. And often I didn't know which was the one that had the right, what each one was. I didn't have a preconceived reference. So I tried this one. I said no. I tried this one. No. This one. Oh yeah. Okay, that one's good. My body's going like this. That's how we picked. How we made this laser. So we picked the wavelengths in the red that had the most unwinding effect. We picked the wavelengths in the infrared that had the most unwinding effect. We picked the wavelengths in the violet that had the most unwinding effect. That's the first key piece, is the choice of wavelengths that have a very soothing, unwinding effect. The second key thing is we design the lasers in a very specific sacred, it's not really traditional sacred geometry, it's based on what I call nonlinear scalar physics. So the array and how we design the lasers is built on our experience of which array has the effect of going to cells and inviting cells to go from here and to shift into nonlinear kind of state. So the way that we organize our laser array is key. It's very key. I don't talk about it a whole lot. The next thing that we do is we take the laser light and we roll the light, we decollimate the light. Most companies keep the light collimated. Well, you send a collimated beam in, and what does it do? It stimulates. You take that light and you decollimate it so it softens. It comes in. Now what does it do? It now comes in. It's like the difference between a stiff handshake and a warm hug. Well, our laser light, we decollimate. We roll the waves into rounded waveforms instead of square waves, rounded sine waves, because everything in nature is rounded and organic. So we have rounded sine waves. And then most important, we have our unique patented technology that induces the waves into nonlinear scalar waves. Which is the key. In addition to all these other pieces, every single thing that we do with our laser, I'm going to the other adrenal, we're going to kind of move through this kind of fast because I want to cover a couple of new things today. For new folks, start on unwind. In fact, I'm gonna change the program that I'm on. Keep it simple. Start on unwind. I wasn't on unwind. I'm on unwind now, and just notice, do you feel your body going from here to here? Everyone understands what it feels like to go neutral and unwind. You all have a reference when you get tired at night. Well, you're going from here to here. You're going neutral. You understand. We're just doing it while we're conscious. Same thing. You understand. Your body understands how to do it. We're just doing it while we're conscious. The benefit of which is when we can do it when we're conscious, we begin to be able to do it consciously. So on unwind. Unwind is unwinding. I feel my body unwinding. And again, everything we do with the scalar laser, this is what separates us from every other company. Every other company doesn't care anything about this. They want to stimulate with lasers. They want to tell you how powerful their lasers are. They want to tell you how it'll stimulate. Well, I use 90% of the lasers I use. To be honest, I never put down other lasers yet. I wouldn't use most of the lasers out there. You couldn't pay me to use most of the lasers. A lot of them I'll use them, and it's like my body will go like this. I'll be like this. 99% of the lasers that are out there, I would never use on the glands, on the cranial system, on the sphenoid. on activating subtle energy along the spine and opening up ambrosia. Why? Because they're linear. They're not nonlinear. All of these systems that I work with are nonlinear. And so to me, you need a nonlinear tool to be able to reach nonlinear things. All right, that's the adrenals. Now I'm moving down in one moment, I'm going to go down to the sacrum. I just found a little place. I was about to go down further to the sacrum. I went a little lower on the spine. And I just happened to find, I've been having a little bit, my back's been a little bit tender. So I just came upon a place. And when you're doing a session, leave some space to see where you arrive. All right, don't just have the protocol and you do the protocol. Right there, I just veered off the protocol. I went a little lower on the spine, and this area wants to unwind. So I arrived there, and it's unwinding, and it feels great. And to me, success. What did I say earlier? Every day I look, if I can find one or two things to unwind and dissolve every day, then at least I'm offsetting the new things that I'm grabbing on, that I'm holding on to. So again, I don't care how I find it. I can stumble onto it. Doesn't matter to me. Key is, get in the if we go through life always holding things, guess what? It's like we got to pin pricks in the yogis call it the knot. There's a knot that caps off our reality from the beyond. So people stay in this experience here of the physical and of the personality, and our entire society has been staying here in this experience. Well, we need activists right now on planet Earth who want to pierce that knot in their own relativity in every moment. The more of us that do that, we're going to collectively dissolve the knot that's been in play here for a while, which is really a special and wonderful assignment. Not only is it a special and wonderful assignment, but doing it together as a community makes it a joy. So thank you to our community of folks who are all digging in at this sacred work and opportunity. Thank you. All right, so now I'm gonna. This is a really good point. When you find a good point, when you find a good point in the knot, it's like the knot's all wound up, and when you find a point and the knot starts to unravel, you want to notice that. Every day I could find one thing, and with that one thing I find there's a pressure point there and it starts to unravel. Well, what's happening? We are doing huge work. Look at the challenges here, whether it's a physical, whether it's an emotional, whether it's psychic, as all being the same. Doesn't matter. They're all just a little fixation that's going on that's keeping the energy here in this contained structure. It's keeping the energy in the contraction. In the big picture, there's the contraction, there's the unwinding, and then there is the neutrality, which is the expression of our full consciousness being. So this, if you notice something, we've done the same thing again and again throughout this entire live stream. We did it first with Stillpoint. Then we looked around, found some things. We found the thing, we unwound, and we dropped it in. Then we did it with the sacrum, found contraction, unwound, into neutrality. Then we did it with the laser. What's the laser? Laser's doing the same thing. Light's coming out, doing the scalar wave into neutrality. This tool is a reflection of this very process. So the next thing I'm going to go to is the sacrum. And when I do the sacrum, I often do it on quantum. So I just switched to quantum. I'm giving you these points, the adrenals, the sacrum, the occipital ridge. These are like the key nexus points for where a lot of people contract. And when you unravel these points, it does wonders to induce this organism back into a neutral orientation. At least from my experience, that's how what I do. All right, I was saying something a moment ago. This is a good point, man. I just dissolved right into still point. All right, good. Hopefully that feels as good for you all as it does here. If it doesn't, if you're not sure you're on the right program, turn laser off, go to wave. Wave is another one I often do on the sacrum. Go to unwind. Just try a different one. Try a different one until you feel this still point response. All right, good. So that's the tailbone. That's the tailbone. When we made this laser, we put a lot of care into making sure that I wouldn't sign off on the laser unless it had the effect of putting, I share this in our seminars. We call it still point navigation or quantum field navigation. And I say, in my life, I only make decisions when neutrality opens up. I don't make big decisions about where I'm going to go, where I'm going to live, what I'm going to eat, who I'm going to hang out with, business decisions, unless this space opens up. So when we built the laser, I tried a lot of things. So which wavelengths did this open up? Which frequencies did this open up? How we did our patent and how we induced the scalar. I tried lots of things until I felt my field, when I had that combination of things within the light, that my body started to go like this and unwind and decompress. That's when I said, that's what we want. That's what I want. We made a laser specifically to induce unwinding, dissolution, and reset into the still point state, the scalar state. Still point, scalar are like synonymous. Scalar is the technology, still point's the effect, or the response. All right, hopefully this is, I'm sharing this in this way. I'm really focusing on this because, for starters, we have so many practice. I was reading through some of the testimonials recently, and we have some profound testimonials. We don't use 90% of what we have. And I was reading some testimonials recently and watching some videos. We have some videos. We have a new video from Shaka Khan, famous musician here in LA. It is profound how much she loves her laser and how much she does with her laser. Profound. We have testimonials from Shiva Ray, famous yoga, video testimonial. We'll be sharing these soon. Amazing testimonial about how the laser completely averted her from having knee surgery. We have hundreds of testimonials from chiropractors, osteopaths, folks, myofascial folks who understand dissolving cell memory and tissue, and who use the scalar laser as a tool to unwinding tissue. This is really, really a unique feature that we have, and we don't even ever really talk about it. So the next third place I'm going to is the occipital ridge. Occipital ridge. I'm on wave. I switched to wave. I often do this one with wave. You'll see I'm not even on the body. Occasionally on the body is best. There's warmth. Our laser's cleared for use as a medical device on the body for pain relief, inflammation, circulation, arthritis, and relaxation of tissue. When you go off the body, it's more of a tool. It has a profound unwinding effect. It feels good on hand too, but I was working up here. So the occipital ridge is a key place to work. A lot of osteopaths and chiros and cranial therapists all understand how important unwinding the occipital ridge is. It unwinds the brain stem, opens the vagus nerve. This is a gem of a place to work on. All right, that's the occipital ridge. Those are the three key places. Let me highlight again. First, we did the adrenals. You can do the adrenals from the front. Then we did the sacrum. You can do the sacrum from the front. You can do the sacrum right here. above the genital area and right below the belly button. There's a muscle bone here called the it's called something. It's got a name. This is a good place. I skipped this when I was going. This is really good. It's called the pubic bone, and it's a great place to work. If you have not worked over the pubic bone, take the laser in the privacy of your home and unwind the pubic bone. You want to unwind your whole central core of your body. Unwind the pubic bone. I talk about unwinding. Well, most people are like a knot in their core. It's why people get sciatica. It's why people get pelvic inflammatory disease. It's why people have constipation. It's why people have systemic bloating. It's why people have often all sorts of other challenges in this area with the diaphragm, with breathing, with the iliopsoas. So you want to unwind this whole central, not to mention all the different digestive system, elimination, reproductive challenges. This central area here, you have two key things. You have the sacrum and you have the pubic bone. And they're like two halves of a clamshell. They go like this. Well, if you unwind the sacrum, that's great. Yet if this area is tight, the pelvic floor goes inside here. So the key, you want to release the pelvic floor, release both sides of the sacrum and the pubic bone. When they both release, the pelvic floor releases. When the pelvic floor releases, everything that lines up here starts to release with it and relax. Digestion, urinary, reproductive, all the organs, the colon, the intestines, all the organs. If this is all jumbled up, all this stuff's jumbled up. I cannot say enough how important it is for everyone to find some way every day to unwind these areas, whether it's the laser or it's still point or it's whatever works for you. All right, so again, adrenals, you can do front back, sacrum in the front, or you can do it in the back if it's easier. Occipital ridge, this releases the vagus nerve. Again, these are the three key areas. All right, the next thing I want to show you real quick, couple of other points that I like to unwind. The sphenoid. I just went back to unwind. Anyone with TMJ, anyone with migraines, anyone with snoring issues, eyesight issues, hearing issues, depression, insomnia, too much thinking, judging, analyzing. Unwind the sphenoid. Hugely important. Anyone interested in developing receptivity in their brain, in the glands in their brain, unwind the sphenoid. Powerful, powerful place to unwind. One of my favorite places to unwind. Whew, that feels good. So all I'm doing is going between the ears and here. The sphenoid, this whole area right in here, this whole area right in here. All right, good. That's the sphenoid. Now I'm going to very gently I'm going to switch to quantum. We're going to do one last thing here for the unwind protocol. I'm just going to scan around the cranium. I'm just scanning. I'm probably 5-10 inches off the body. I'm just scanning around. The key right now, everyone take a breath. Everyone drop into still point for a moment. And now move from this place of still point very slow, very slow. And all you want to do is look. Just scan. Like right there over the ear, felt really good, so I stopped for a moment. Now I'm going to keep going. I don't do long with this. I just go around. I'm just looking. Are there any areas right now that feel like they want to unwind? Every day. This is no different than going with your broom, going through your home or your sweeper to find out, is there any dirt? You're not sure if there's dirt. You go around and look. Why? Because you find it with that thing. Same thing in your garden. You get some tool, you go through the dirt, see if there's any twigs or roots or weeds, and you find it. Well, same thing. If you have a tool that can unwind, guess what? If you go really slow, this is key. If you have a tool that unwinds, like the rake goes through the dirt. The broom goes through the floor. It collects things. Well, if you have a tool that can unwind things, then just gently go around every day. You'll tell when you find something unwind, just like you find with the rake. You get to a point, oh yeah, right here, it's starting to unwind. What does that tell you? Well, this area needed to unwind. I mean, it's that simple. You know, it seems, I don't want this to seem like some esoteric thing and you need to be some yogi to go around and feel this. It's not like that. This is easy. We have 10,000 plus customers who have lasers, who love their lasers, who get great results with their lasers. I'm right here over 1 point. 1 point I'm doing right now feels really great. All right, good. Now I'm going over the bottom part of the body. All right, good. After I do go scan around, I often do the energy field. I often like to go around the outside of the energy, the quantum field we call. I just switch to activate behind the body. You know, this sends subtle scalar. This is inducing subtle scalar energy. So it works great around the outside of the body. I have so many different healers, folks who work with energy radionics, different kinds of quantum therapy, who use our lasers and say it's a phenomenal tool. I was reading through some testimonials the other day, and like I read 4 or 5 testimonials in a row of people that do practitioner work, and they use it on their clients, and they open up all the chakras before they do body work, or they, you know, one person shared they did it on a customer, and the person felt energy moving up their spine. I had another person who uses it purely as an energy healing tool. This is a no-brainer. I cannot say enough how powerful it is. You just rest here in still point and move it around. You'll feel it. Like I can feel when I come to a certain area, like right there, feels great. I go above the body. I go behind the body. A lot of people have holes in their aura in the back. Blockages. There's no worries. Just dissolve it. Open it up. You know, take responsibility every day for clearing any blockages, anything that might be going on in this space. All right, I want to touch for one moment here on the probes. Everyone, good moment. Drop into still point for a moment and just rest in still point. You know, right there, I went to go do something. This is where training in the still point really comes in. And this is why we do retreats, because we do different activities at the retreats. Like, for example, in this upcoming, in Vegas, we all did some assignments where people went out into the casinos and into different places. And the primary goal of the assignment was to keep the field open, no matter what's going on. And if that doesn't work, shift, you know, just like with the laser, you know, the key to this process is understanding how powerful we are. You know, with the laser we have unwind. Oh, unwind doesn't feel that great, we switch to quantum. Quantum not so good, we switch to activate. Activate not so good, oh, we go to unity. Oh, we go to wave. And we try each one and we see that response. Well, what did I discuss earlier in this call? Well, there's a few key steps to the still point process. First is we drop into still point. We hold that until quantum field opens. We hold quantum field until energy, sacred pulse energy starts to flow up the spine. Oh, that goes into opening up the ambrosia process. Oh, that fills in and opens up the lotus. Steps. Those practical steps are the same thing as unwinding thing. Quantum, activate. All the same thing I do with this, I'm doing with this. So when you're in that, when you have an assignment like that and you go out and there's a challenge or a situation, well, you just flip it and say, okay, open the quantum field. Oh yeah, activate energy along the spine. This is why we do retreats. So in Vermont, we're going to do some assignments like going to the building and touring the building. And when we do that, we're going to be holding this space. And I bring this up because it's one thing to say, okay, I'm going to pull back from the world and I'm going to sit here in meditation, or I'm going to sit here and close my eyes. And that's one thing. What I'm suggesting, a huge percent of the work that I do with still point doesn't happen with me sitting here and going like this. It happens with me when I'm plugging in a probe, or I'm in a meeting, or I'm walking, you know, over here doing something, or I'm driving. I'm holding this place. Oh, I'm talking to someone, and I activate energy along the spine. this is something we can be doing as our primary operating system. You know, operating system of the old age was operating system of thinking. And thinking had certain, linear operating system had certain things, like emotions were some of the software, and judgment, and thinking, and all this stuff. Those were the operating system and the softwares that went with the last season. Well, to me, new season, new operating system. To me, Stillpoint, quantum field, nonlinear operating system. Has new software for activating alchemy and flowering into bliss. New software for having joy and peace and love and harmony. New software, manifestation and abundance. You know, we have to get the new operating system strong. So yeah, we still have to do some things, yet the primary thing that's happening in this space, in this is the operating system that we choose, and we have to choose that. All right, so I want to just touch for a moment on the probes, because the probes are more concentrated lasers. They're 100 milliwatt lasers. You want to be careful. You don't want to stare into the probes. Probes are 100 milliwatt lasers, and I want to touch on this because, you know, it could seem like this is a stimulating laser. It's a more powerful, you know, you go try any other 100 milliwatt laser and you feel it, and it's kind of like, it feels like you're being stimulated. Our 100 milliwatt laser doesn't feel that way at all. It's strong output of energy. You could see it's a strong output of energy. See, all those cells are lighting up the color red. Yet the way that we've configured, you know, another key thing we do that I don't talk about a lot to help make all of our lasers nice and relaxed and at ease is we pick certain violet light, a very specific form of violet light, to surround and infuse the laser light. Again, we have a sacred approach to how we design. That we've patented a lot of these features that have to do with our applying our lasers in a way that unwinds things. So this, even though you see, as I'm using it, I'm kind of going, I'm still unwinding. This is key. This is totally unique for a higher powered laser to have it be also an unwinding laser. Why is this important? Well, when I'm working on my tooth, which is why I got into lasers, and there's a major situation, I understand that the most important thing with a tooth situation, the most important thing with an infection, with an injury, the most important thing with an emotional situation, the most important thing with a knee injury, the most important thing with any situation that I work with, by far, is shifting the conversation from here, contraction, to neutrality. Neutrality is the driving mechanism for inducing blood, oxygen, electrons, lymph, white blood cells. All of the key regenerative faculties are based in neutrality. And so to me, this secret that we infuse and that makes our lasers revolutionarily different than any other laser, to me, does one thing. It opens up the flood of neutral energy and essence. And that, to me, is what does the work of healing, rejuvenating, finding solutions, and helping people to regenerate. It's not the laser, it's the neutrality. All right, this is the red laser. Red lasers are really good, as I mentioned, for dental situations, great for pain, great for facial rejuvenation. I often use the red laser on quantum or on unity. Some of my favorite points are right around this area. Sinuses, anyone with sinuses, works great. I love working on the points around the nose. I love working. Nose is one of my favorite places to work. So I get a kick out of it. I got picked on as a kid for having a big nose, so I just love that it's a part of my work that I get to focus on it. In any event, my point here is that the nose, to me, is a sacred and important place in our alchemy and in the activation of nonlinear energy in the body. Why? Yogis say there's a chakra here at the tip of the nose. There's a chakra. When this chakra opens, it activates, they say, the entire subtle body. So to me, every day I want to make sure this chakra, this is open here. When the tip of the nose is open, it balances the thyroid. It's great for metabolism and for weight loss. When the tip of the nose is open, it opens up the lung meridian. Opens up the heart meridian. Opens up the Ida Pingala along the spine and the central Nadi Sushumna that goes along the spine. It also opens the pineal pituitary glands. That's a great point. Feels great too. Whatever all that other stuff means, I don't know, but it feels really good. You can also work inside the nose. I tell you, if I ever feel like I'm coming down with a cold or not feeling good, laser activate right in here. Another company I came across recently, they now have a laser that they say, I've been saying this for years. They are saying that you put these 5 milliwatt lasers right inside the nose, red lasers, and it purifies the blood. It laser purifies and cleanses and detoxifies the blood. Well, what about a 100 milliwatt laser right here? $100 milliwatt laser right here to really purify the blood. That's why right now we have a really good special going on. We had some requests recently from folks in the field who wanted an easy way to get in to, we used to always have a special with the main unit and one red or infrared. So now for $3,500 anyone can buy a red or an infrared. And we have all sorts of other specials going on right now as well. This is, all right, other facial rejuvenation. Red laser is also really good. You know, often, you know, I'll do point probe work along the spine. There's great points at each of the different chakra plexuses along the spine for doing work with the red probe. You know, if you have only the red probe, you know, don't be shy with it. You can use the red probe for so many different things. You know, big part of the work that Lily and I have done for a lot of years is making sure that energy is flowing along the spine. I just can't say enough. This is like the superhighway conductor. One of the new things we're going to be sharing more is some new, I mentioned this earlier, some new scalar protocol for activating energy along the spine. The energy in the front. The front of the spine is positive. Well, it depends. It's relative. Positive and negative. You know, you have basically positive, negative, and then when they're both connected, it shifts scalar into neutrality. Key points right here also as well. In Chinese acupuncture, these are key points. Governor and conception. This is the governor point for the meridian in the back of the spine. This is conception for the meridian in the front of the spine. Red probe is really good for soft tissue, for skin, for muscles, for nerve. I want to touch just for one moment on the infrared. The infrared is a little bit different than the red. Everyone take a moment, drop into still point. Infrared is great. And by the way, if you have one probe, use the one you have. Don't, you know, whatever you have, use. If you only have the main unit, use that. Infrared's good for me right now. I just took a huge sigh. I look for that. If you're not sure which probe to use, if you're not sure which probe, plug in the red. Take a moment. Then plug in the infrared. Then the violet. See which one gives you that sigh. Which one gives you that still point response. That's what I do. I make all my decisions like that. I made the lasers like that. When I use the lasers, I just plug one in and give it a try. Same thing. The infrared probe is much more beneficial. 100 milliwatt infrared laser, profoundly beneficial for deeper seated bone, tendon, cartilage, and disc. This is what I use to regenerate bone above a front tooth. You know, I always say this. I say it again and again in our seminars. Cells are in the business of growing cells. So I don't care. You bring me any situation, any challenges, and my approach is the same. How do we apply coherent light and invite that area to relax? If an area is not regenerating, not growing, that just tells me it's not. It's contracted and it's shut down. So what's my goal? Unwind it. Unwind it. Get that area plugged in so the DNA can work, so the cellular energy can work, so it can get blood flow, oxygen, electrons. This isn't rocket science. This is no different than in your house. You know, one room in your house blows a fuse and there's no light, there's no power. It's not rocket science. You figure it out. You get the right resources there. You go downstairs, you flip the switch, you use the resources, and you get it going again. We don't want to spend too much energy making this, out to be something more complicated than it is. This is not complicated. This is basic understanding of the physics of this is the violet probe. One of my favorites. In fact, many people on our network love to use the violet laser. I have it on Unity. I almost always use it on Unity. This is a great probe to use for dental situations because violet light is antibacterial, and a lot of people struggle with bacterial infections in the mouth. Great to use for facial rejuvenation, acne, blemishes, rosacea, wrinkles, scars, aging. Violet light is highly regenerative. It's got a great effect at stimulating and inducing certain key enzymes. I touched on this in Maui. We had a really good group in Maui, and I want to take a moment to thank all of our emissaries in Hawaii and in Maui for hosting such a lovely event last weekend at the Temple of Peace. Thank you so much. It was just great to be there and to get a chance to visit with you all. And during the seminar, we covered a little bit more advanced stuff, particularly on light and how, from my perspective, we as a people are going in the process of making a huge shift. And that shift is really, from my perspective, largely happening on our enzyme level. In other words, people right now, one of the main reasons that I use the violet laser, and I use it so often and love to use it, is that from my perspective, violet light induces certain enzymes in the body. It induces higher spectral enzymes. Right now, our people, so many people on planet Earth are having very low spectral enzymes in their cells and in their bodies, and low spec from eating meat and from having a lot of toxins and stress. Well, lower spectral enzymes don't respond to light that well. So cosmic light, solar light, lower spectral enzymes basically mean people don't adapt to what's happening on our planet right now. And from my perspective, one of the huge shifts that we're making right now on this planet and going to be making is in our enzyme situation in our cells, to higher spectral enzyme. When we have higher spectral enzymes, our bodies are really going to be, well, they are, and they're going to become more refined and subtle light bodies in their ability to actually take in stellar light, cosmic light as fuel. So literally to absorb light, and instead of that light actually destroying enzymes in the cell, we'll be able to use those enzymes to process that energy, that information, and to live as stellar and conscious cosmic beings. And for me, one of the reasons, and I read a book when I was younger by a famous, well, actually he's not that famous, scientist who should be famous, who wrote a book about violet light affecting particular key genetic enzymes. Mitochondrial enzymes, genetic enzymes, enzymes like telomerase, which has to do with the telomeres and elongating longevity. So for me, a big part, I don't get into this a lot, and in Maui I occasionally dig in and cover some deeper stuff. And from my perspective, it's really important for me to be light. To me, is like food. To me, neutrality, still point is food. We can live on neutrality. Everyone drop into still point. We can train our subtle faculties to not require the coarse food, and the physical food. The coarse food is for the physical, the coarse body. When we understand that this quantum field is our real body, is our subtle body, we have to start to understand, well, gee, what do we nourish this body with? To me, this approach to lasers, the scalar laser, this approach to our technology and our application of wavelengths and the unwinding effect, this to me is a technology, is a tool for nourishing and caring for this subtle faculty. I'm on quantum right now, by the way, which has a great effect on the field. Quantum on violet is really, really nice. Everyone go ahead and take a nice big breath in. For me, that session would be done right there. I am in a nice open space. My field is open. I don't look to try to fix everything in one session. For me, to me, a successful session is starting with something, unwinding, and getting back here. So I don't qualify the session as, oh, the knee is all better and fixed. I qualify it, I start on the knee, and when I finish, I started with some contraction, it unwinds, and I get to the point where I'm here. When I'm back here, I'm done. Just like earlier, we did that process. You know, I found something, I welcomed it and dissolved it. It doesn't mean that I come back the next day and that thing's not, I could look around and, oh, that thing's there, and I just welcome it there, I dissolve it, unwind. This is about regaining flexibility. It's not about curing and fixing and healing everything. It's about saying to things, well, if you're going to go like this, well, guess what? I'm going to invite you to go like this, unwind, and go here. And so when it goes there, you do it again. Well, we train our experience to have the capacity, if it goes like this, if it has to have the karma, the action, well, great. We also have to give it the opportunity to dissolve and go back to its true action, which is neutrality.